Back in the den with Terry Pack, SCC men's wrestling coach, not women's anymore. You were holding both of those down. What's going on?
It was. So we just got to the point that we felt like both programs were growing tremendously. And we felt like me trying to split my time was doing an injustice to the girls and the guys. So I will become the director of women's wrestling. So I'll make sure I help Jake kind of mentor him on, and Jake is going to assume the head coaching role for the girls this year. And then Anthony and I will help, and we're still looking to bring in one more coach this year and really try to put 2 full-time people with the girls and then 2 full-time with the guys.
Another sign of growth in this program. You've got 2 great assistants there, and that's kind of a no-brainer. When this came up, I'm sure one of those 2 was a
right, and it was kind of always meant to be that way, right? When we brought Jake in, we just wanted to get that first year under his belt, get his feet wet, get him comfortable, and let him run with the reins, and now he is.
Absolutely. You know, another sign that you guys are not leaving any stone unturned. I noticed that you had the kids in a classroom setting working on mental prep. How important is that?
Well, I mean, I think if you look at wrestling in general, a lot of people say, what percentage wrestling, what percent is mental mindset? With us, we think that the mental mindset is a huge piece of all of it. Because if you have the right mental mindset on the mat and off the mat, we feel like that's going to make you work a little harder, be a little smarter, be a little kinder, be a little more humble, be a better student, be a better person. And when all those things mesh together, that's when you get a remedy for success, right? When you miss some of the ingredients, like if you're baking a cookie and you're missing some of the ingredients, right? It just doesn't taste the same. And that's where we're at. We want to have the right kind of product, and we want to have it perfect every time. And we know that mentally we have some kids that they need to pull the trigger. We know that they have some things that hold them up psychologically. So we've partnered with Wrestling Mindset. They do a lot of stuff at the senior levels, Olympians. They do a lot of stuff with the Division I schools. And we wanted to make sure that we give everybody that comes here the same experience that they get if they're going to Penn State or the Olympic Training Center or anywhere else.
I don't mean to throw the kids under the bus, but do you find kids today maybe need a little bit more of this mental prep and just kind of getting themselves ready to perform at the level you're expecting? Or am I off on that?
I mean, I think, I'm an old school guy, so there's still that little thing out there. They go, oh, the kids aren't the same, society changed, or the coaches have changed, whatever, right? I don't know what the answer is. I just know the more tools that we can give a kid to work with, and the more things they can put in their toolbox, the better things they can fix. And for us, we want to check all the boxes.
You're a lifelong wrestling coach, where this sport it's individual, as opposed to maybe the basketball team where you've got to work as a team. Does that mindset change?
Yeah, you know what? A little bit, right? We tell the kids, hey, you have to be selfish. You have to cut your own weight. You have to get a little stronger on your own. But you need your teammate when it comes to sharpening your skills. You need your teammate sometimes when it comes to holding you accountable, right? So even though selfishly wrestling can be an individual sport, the team atmosphere of it is what really propels each individual to be better.
Yeah, despite the fact that you're out there wrestling on your own, the whole team does rely on you to get things done.
Right, 100%, because without that one piece, it's like we talked about before, right? It's that one little ingredient you miss that throws the taste off completely, and we just don't want to miss any of them.
How was that received? Did the kids take that in? I mean, I'm sure you stressed upon them that, hey, this is important.
We tell kids that being accountable for your actions and being a good teammate and holding others accountable to their actions is that recipe that wins. And we have those kind of signs up in our locker room. We make different ones every week. We talk about the mindset training for every week. We have a different theme or a different thought process that we put into the weeks moving forward. And that's what we really want to tell the kids and sell the kids on.
You've got some exciting news in your schedule. I mean, last time we met, you said this is in the works. we couldn't talk about it, but this is kind of a huge thing, I think.
Yeah, so we're going to extend our Christmas break a little longer this year. Usually we're done by the 17th, but we're going to stay to the 21st, and we're going to go down and duel the University of Oklahoma at Norman. So what a cool thing, right? I mean, our kids have the dream and aspirations of always putting on a D1 singlet or wrestling D1 guys. Well, we're lucky. We get to go to a lot of these tournaments that do that. But more importantly, just put yourself in that environment. And the rules for the NCAA have really allowed this, right? It's allowed every redshirt a minimum of 5 dual matches that they can do. So for us, it was an easier sell to call coaches that I know and say, hey, put us on the schedule. You got 5 duels anyway. So put us on right before. Now you don't include just your starters, but you include that next 15 kids in your lineup to buy in and be a part of your program in Norman at a great event. And so for us, the kids were excited, coaches are excited. I think we'll probably push a little bit of it out on social media next week once we get a couple things done, and then we're ready to rock. And we know that's a caliber that we may not be at, but we also know that's a caliber we want to be at. And you never know where you are unless you put yourself out there.
Right. And your big thing, and you've said it many, many times, is like, you want this experience to be just like a D1 experience for these kids. And now this is part of it too. You're going to be competing with D1 folks. This is a pretty high level event.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the growth that we're making, I mean, our wrestling facilities, 4 mats. If you look at our locker rooms, I mean, they're as nice as a lot of D1 locker rooms. We are getting those pieces down, right? So the facility level's great, coaching level's great, but now we got to get that next step, and that's finding the competitive edge that helps us win a national title. Everything can look pretty, but at the end of the day, none of it means a damn thing if your hand's not getting raised. And for us, we want those to correlate.
You've got a big social event coming up, and you've been so good. Not only social media, but you get these kids out. They're working the Husker football games. We were out at the Salt Dogs. Those guys just had a good time doing this stuff. But you've got a social event coming up here. Tell us a little bit about that. It's your second time around.
Yeah. So I mean, last year we did our, I don't know if you want to call it a preseason meal, pre-wrestle off meal. And we did it last year at 402. And we overwhelmed it. It was huge success, over 100-some people. So this year we're going to move it to the cafeteria. It's RSVP, so if people from outside the community like to come, they can. Get a chance to meet all of our wrestlers, get a chance to kind of mingle with the coaches, do something kind of cool. And it's right here in our own cafeteria. It's only $8.50 a meal, and it's great. And it's going to be a chance to give a more of a personal touch with our guys and with our girls. And I think those are the intangible benefits that have allowed us to hit our fundraising goals and exceed our fundraising goals, because those people are out there and they're supporting us. And I think the reason they do is because we understand how important they are to us. And if we show them that they're important to us, we're hoping that they show us that we're important to them.
Do you feel comfortable talking about your fundraising efforts? Because you really hit that hard too. There's really not an aspect of this whole thing that you're really not excelling at, but the fundraising, I mean, look, it's paid off. I mean, you've got nice stuff here. That stuff just, you don't sprinkle fairy dust on that. That's an effort.
Junior colleges are tight on budgets, right? And it being a new program, I think everybody was kind of going, okay, well, how's this going to work? How's that going to go? So we knew there's things that we want that we either didn't have the money for right away, or the college wasn't able to accommodate. So we knew we had to go do those things, right? Like the mindset training. We are bringing in psychologists. We're getting our new recovery room open here in hopefully by the next time we do the den, we can have maybe some photos of our recovery room. We're doing all the things that we know we need to be successful at the next level. And just by pure numbers and budgets, everything's tight. And our world's getting tighter and tighter, and we know that if we want those things, that we got to go out and work. And that all comes back to that same thing we talked about earlier, right? Being able to tie into the public. Because fundraising efforts don't work without a tie to the public. And, I know a lot of people go, oh, I didn't raise but this much money and this much money. I don't understand how you're raising that much. Because we seek buy-in. We seek buy-in from everybody. And we're bought in. Because if we're not bought in, how do you ask somebody else to be?
Yeah. One last thing. Here on the Den, we try to do a kind of a broad brush of what's going on with the program. I thought you did a great job on Facebook and your other social media platforms. You ran down class by class of your folks, and I thought that was really some good in-depth information. So I don't know, we'd invite everybody, if you really want to get the skinny on some of the folks that you're going to be putting on the mat this year. Those were great. I mean, I don't know, did you put your phone out there in front of yourself?
It's content. Just literally set it up in the office.
It's content. It was really good. And I mean, we don't get into those kinds of things here because it's not boring, but we know that we got to keep it kind of short here.
Right.
And that's what you did on that. I thought it was very well done. But once again, just the talent that's here, I know you're excited and just keep on bringing it on like I know you are. And this is great news with your coaches too.
Yeah, I mean, you can only can't be successful as a team without a team, right? And I think with Anthony and Jake, and I'm still hoping that we're able to bring in one more coach that we've been working on that we had in this week, and we're hoping to be able to put something together for him. And that's all part of our fundraising efforts, right? Is to be able to bring in that additional staff and help those guys. So because our budgets just don't allow it, right? So we know that we have to do that ourselves, and we're okay with it.
How wide is your coaching tree? I mean, do you have a rough guesstimate maybe? Because I look at Jake and Anthony and I'm like, those guys could probably head up a program on their own. And I know that's nothing new for you.
Right.
Do you have just a rough guesstimate of like how many, you're bringing on wrestlers, but look at the coaches that you've had to have brought along too.
Well, so many. I mean, like now I'm getting kids that are wrestling for me whose dads wrestle for me. Dang. I'm old, but I mean it's cool, right? Because those guys are coaching now, and they're coaching in Florida and California and Idaho and Ohio, and it's really awesome just to know that maybe you had an impact on somebody's life outside of just showing a wrestling move.
Yeah, absolutely. T-Pack, keep it up.
Thank you, sir.
And hang in there, man. Take care of yourself too. I know you work like your hair's on fire, but man, take care of yourself. We need you, okay?
I appreciate you.
Hey, man, thank you for joining us on The Den. We will see you next time, folks.
Go Bobcats.